Hello and welcome to the first part of the tutorial series about Ike Visualizer, also known as IDA ICE 4.7, which comes in a GUI called Ike. This part 1, will go through the Ike basic version in a very general sense, and also I will touch upon what is the difference between Ike Visualizer 2.1, the Pro and the basic version, where IDA ICE is the Pro version and which has the capabilities of import geometry and other efforts to simulate other parts of the building. I have to state here in the beginning that I am not affiliated with Velux or Aqua, who create IDA, the simulation core in Visualizer or the Ike Visualizer. I am not affiliated by any of these companies, and I'm making this tutorial series a part of the DTU course, at the Technical University of Denmark. First of all, you can download the Velux Energy and Indoor Climate Visualizer, also known as Velux Ike Visualizer or just Ike. You can download this through the Velux webpage. At this tab you will find the download, and it's fairly simple. You have to input your name and your profession here as well. The tool is free and is fairly easy to use. We can read about the basics behind the basic version and the professional version here. The main difference between these two versions is the ability to import geometry and make more advanced geometric shapes. To start with, we don't need that in the tutorial series. However, when we go into the more detailed modeling of our building, we definitely need a professional version or the more advanced features that is linked to the actual modeling in the IDA ICE. And this is where I come to what Ike actually is. Since Velux has actually bought the IDA ICE core for their product, Ike Visualizer is under the hood an IDA ICE version, specifically the latest version, which is 4.7, and you can actually see the highlights of what 4.7 can do. Of course, this is an update of this current version. The daylight situation here is a new thing, but what we are actually interested in for this tool, this particular tool, is the indoor environment data and the data about the energy performance of our rooms. You have to notice that, now we are just going through this, doesn't matter. You have to notice that what we are about to do now is actually making a single zone model with this multi-zone modeling tool, and the Ike overlay, the Ike GUI, only allows one zone to be created. This is not usually the way we estimate indoor environment, because we have inner walls, we have airflows going through the building in a very particular way, through doors and individual openings. But the tool is actually a full-fledged multi-zone model, and the Pro version actually allows us to enter the multi-zone part, and I can show you that in the end of this series. Now, this is the basic version, the free version that is downloaded from the Velux homepage. This is Ike, and what is limited by this version is this particular panel. Here we are limited to investigate different sizes, A, B, and C, different geometry of our slope ceiling or flat ceiling, and we can estimate the apartment we have here as a central part, or it could be in the row, or it could be freestanding. To estimate high-rise buildings or mid-rise as we are making, I suggest you can take out a building, an apartment in the middle, and then this could be a good way to represent an apartment. In this part we put in our location, and here we can assign different conditions to our walls and roof, of course. It could be, for example, that we have we are not sitting on ground. This is maybe the top floor in a high-rise building. Then we should actually face this as an adiabatic situation, which actually means that we have a thermal-like mirror that neglects heat loss through this particular surface. If this apartment is in the middle of the building, we should do this as well for the roof, of course. The leakiness is assigned as these numbers here, but you have to bear in mind that underneath we actually have very specific leakage of each connection between roof and wall and windows and so. You can't see any windows yet. We have to put that in this tab, and you do that by add a new door or window. And we could do that, for example, for a facade. We could say that it's an openal window, and it could be openal for natural ventilation, for example. And it could be you have these options. It could be this size, and it could be like this low energy type, which is the Velux windows, and we can customize it as well. So let's place a window here, and you get this interesting whoops. Here we have a window, and when we are done, we just need to zoom in a little. When we are done, we will just go to the next section. In the heating and cooling tab, we will have to assign a schedule where people are situated inside your apartment, and there's different profiles here we can use. I will suggest you use something like this. You also have to estimate the number of people, and this is the internal loads represented by people loads. You can also modify your schedule by actually drawing these lines here, and then you have to save it as a new resource. Schedules is really important for indoor environment modeling, and choosing the wrong schedule will actually get you in trouble very easily. So be careful about this, and be careful about setting the schedule properly. The heating and the heating set points is also very important. You start, the heating set point is the preferred temperature, and then it's nicely referenced here, nicely explained as a preferred max temperature. This doesn't mean that the temperature can't go beyond 26. Of course it can if we have a lot of heat coming into the building, or we have a lot of people inside. But this is the set point in which we will start cooling, if we have cooling, or venting or ventilating the building. And here we can represent if there's a cooling system present. Usually we don't have that in a residential building. Also, we can use a controller for our sun screening, and this is again a Velux product, but it can be controlled by these active control by Vilux or an energy balanced. And then we should go into this advanced tab to actually describe exactly how much internal gains that is applied by the electrical equipment and the heating, what type of heating source we have. This is part of, if you want to estimate it in money, you can actually go in the amount of energy in money, then you can actually go in and change these properties. For example, if we have electrical lighting, we could define the amount of watts in a matter of krona or euro. Usually we will, in Denmark at least, we'll have a district heating system, so we have to put that. And then you can have a cooling performance efficiency, COP, for your cooling system here. Also bear in mind that if you change all of these factors, you should accordingly change the factors when you estimate your whole building energy consumption in B10 or B15. These should be similar. In the ventilation tab, we will go further into the ventilation control. And here we can use this natural ventilation system, which is opening the windows. And here we can set the point where openings should be performed. So we can assume that people will open at 24 degrees, or we can assume that systems are working automatically. For example, for night cooling, where usually we can't assume that people are waking up and cooling the building down for controlling the optimal temperature for the next day. But of course, this can be done if you have automatic openings. This as well can be set by demand-based controlled systems, where we can control the openings by a measurement of the CO2 level inside the building or the apartment. And here we have these factors, and we can of course modify these set points. Also, because we are probably designing a very energy efficient building, we will either go for mechanical ventilation or hybrid, since we need to have heat exchanging systems in our ventilation part. Otherwise our heat consumption will be too large in the winter situation. So we will usually go for the hybrid or the mechanical ventilation schedule. In this tab we'll start the simulation. We just press this button. This is an hourly simulation, that is a dynamic simulation tool, and it is actually trying to optimize the amount of simulated points during the entire year. It's simulating for 2015 here, from the 1st of January to the end of December. And you would actually see when we go into the data later on that it has probably simulated more than these 8,760 hours that is in a year. And this is due to the fluctuations that is in between these hours that is happening, caused by balancing out the heat consumption and the heat losses through the building and the airflow through the building. In the end here, it probably takes around a minute or so to one simulation, but if your building or your geometry is more complicated, you will find it will take longer. This is, in the end, by the way, a very fast simulation for a whole whole year dynamic simulation. We can get our results in various ways. To begin with, I will just generate this result report where Velox have designed a very nice and easy way to interpret the data, and some of the data are relevant and some are not. For our purpose, where we have to estimate the indoor environment, we can look at these results in various ways. Interpret your results. The basic result is the ventilation thermal comfort. You have these ventilation categories, the thermal comfort category, that is this apartment actually lives up to. And this is not particularly good. In fact, it's rather horrible, and I can show you this why that is later on. But the thing is that, of course, we have one window in a completely dark room, and we probably have too many people sitting in there without actually having any fresh air. We have these tabs to show our detailed results, and of course we have the energy part. I think for the energy part in this particular tool, which is based on the apartment alone, of course we can extrapolate different apartments and then put them together, the amount of energy, and then average it out over the whole building. That process in itself is kind of not the way we used to do it. It can be done, that's not saying that, but I would suggest that we use a whole building simulation tool for the energy part, that is B10 for example in the Danish standard, or you start simulating the entire building to be sure that your energy demand is correct. That is beyond this course, and that is beyond this basic Velox GUI. So the energy can be analyzed in terms of different situations you make of the same apartment. So here we have heating consumption up to around 55 watts, I guess we can set values on it. 53 kilowatts per hour over the entire year per square meter, and that is a lot. Also we have the electricity bill here and the ventilation is rather insignificant, which we should do something about. Also, this might be something that we have to change because our thermal comfort is horrible, as I said before. So the energy elements, which you actually showed here, can be interpreted in the way that if you change the sign from one to another, you can see the relative change, and that is what you should react upon. But if you want to estimate the entire energy of the entire building, you should go into another tool such as V10, V15 or DOE in the American standards, I guess. Alright, we will go through these tabs here very easily, very fast. We can show this ventilation tab, which goes into it actually shows the amount of temperatures, or not temperatures, the amount of hours that you have worse CO2 loads than these limits. So we have more than 1200 ppm in this part of the year, and in total number of hours of the year we have an air quality that is not good enough. We need to vent more. Also, we can look at the air change. This is 8 air changes per hour, and then we can actually go in and see, okay, we have actually a very limited air change in the summertime, and during the whole year we have an average here of that's not actually possible to see, but we have to go into the tabular data to actually see the the average of this year. Alright. Of course these graphics is nice to see, but sometimes we need the raw data to get our the results we want. Here we have the energy and the indoor climate. The amount of hours of number of hours where we have the out of range condition, and this is not something we have set. So the out of range conditions is for our case limited by the Danish building regulations, which I will go into in the next part. So for this part we can't actually use this visualization. And then we have the humidity change over the year, and this is also the felt comfort. Usually when we assign PMV values or something like that, we have to know the humidity of the air. Just hide the ventilation, show the thermal comfort. Now, thermal comfort is a really important part of the indoor environment, and this is usually the numbers we will look at first. Here it's described that the European norm 15251 is used, and this is also the one that has to be used in the Danish building regulations. And what we see here, we have these different classes. This is also a way to estimate the comfort. Again, in the Danish building regulations we have some other way to do it, but we can actually use this to say very easily that if we have a lot of class 4, then we have an unacceptable situation. Also, just to be completely clear, this part in ours might be the most relevant graph for us. Here we can see the comfort range that is below 26 degrees and that is higher than 28 degrees. In the Danish building regulations, these two numbers are the one that is relevant. And just to be completely clear, we can't go for residential buildings, we can't go beyond 100 hours for 27 degrees and 25 hours over 28. Therefore this apartment cannot be built. And again, we can show the detailed graphs about the energy. I won't go into that. That is about this stacked columns over the months. We can get the hourly data out if we want. And then we can show the model settings. The model settings are really interesting to document if you want to make a report about this. And this is actually putting it out very easily to read, and I will suggest that you actually use this method to document your building. And the end, this tab might be the most easily interpreted for us, because we can very easily see our criteria and thermal comfort, which actually these two again, and because this is the amount of the occupied hours in percentages and also in hours. Before you saw this as 100 hours, that was for the whole year. Here we only see the occupied hours, and this is the relevant number. Now again, we can see the energy and we can get the total amounts out of here. So these tabulated data might be the most relevant for us. Also, we can go into the more detailed data. Instead of generating a report, we can show the advanced results for our data. Usually we want to look at the comfort temperatures, so I'll just take that. And here it will show you the weekly or the daily data So I will just take this indoor air quality. I don't want that. I want this one. Indoor air temperature and outdoor temperature. Okay, I double clicked it, and here we'll see this as a weekly data. We can change the data range here and the amount of the range of the temperature and the range of the hours. So here we see from the first hour to the last hour, and we take the minimum temperature and the maximum temperature. Also, we can change the amount of the way we actually visualize our temperatures, and what we're interested in is actually the operative temperature. And I could just switch the mean air temperature off. Just omit this, do not show. Okay, so now we have just the operative temperature here. For us to post-process our data and actually get relevant sections out that is more easily interpreted and also better visualized than this tool can do, we can export our data. And I will suggest you actually use the table view here. You go into your time step and say you want the hourly time step, and now you will see this as a monthly value or the weekly value, and we want the entire year. So we can just press this button or the entire simulation period. We'll just press this button, entire simulation period. And it will take a while, and then it will show you all the results for the entire year. And this can be saved, right click, export to Microsoft Excel, and Excel will automatically open with your data. And here you'll get this mean air temperature and the operative temperature. Just open that, you have this here. Here you can make a small function that actually shows which time steps do not comply with your regulations, or you can do other post-processing, and you can of course make graphs and so on. Don't save that. Okay. Of course, there is other exports you can do, and you can also see the ventilation airflows per hour and so on. Here we have a lot of data actually coming out of this program, which is neat. I didn't say it, but you can turn off and on your thickness, and here you can actually see that your model is an internal model of your geometry, and it's just extruding its walls and ceilings out from the model. This is particularly useful to use when this thickness turn off and on, when you're actually importing geometry, which you cannot do in this free basic version. Which leaves me to the second part, which is the Pro version, where I will go through the exact same tabs. Now a little more quickly, but the import I will put my effort to actually explain the import version here. Alright, see you in the next part.